What's up, everybody? It's Skaggs here. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of the Libertarian presidential debate. We have a ton more content coming this week from the convention, including a full podcast episode with Ben from the Libertarian Party Emo Caucus, Lars Mapstead, and Mike Termat. They were hysterical in our part 2 of the full podcast episode. Really think that they should be doing a podcast together. We're also going to be putting out the entire speaker event, including speeches by Josie the Redheaded Libertarian, Clint Russell from Liberty Lockdown, and Maj Touré from Black Guns Matter. You're not going to want to miss those. But we're going to be starting here today with a conversation between Larry Sharpe and Fengsuo Zhou, or Joe, Mr. Joe, as we like to call him at the convention. Just to give a little background, Mr. Zhou was born in Xi'an, China on October 5th, 1967. He enrolled at Tsinghua University in 1985 and he majored in physics. Zhou was elected to be a leader of the Beijing Students Autonomous Federation in 1989. Due to his active engagement of the student-led pro-democracy protests in Tiananmen Square in 1989, Zhou was arrested and imprisoned for a year. He left China in 1995 for the United States, kind of been living here in exile the whole time. He studied analytical finance and accounting and earned his MBA degree in the University of Chicago Booth School of Business in 1998. It's worth noting he was like number 5 on China's most wanted list. What him and Larry are going to talk about today actually isn't the thing probably libertarians wanted to hear, but I always think it's valuable to hear different perspectives. Mr. Zhou kind of knew that going into this, and without further ado, Mr. Zhou and Larry Sharpe.
People who are saying, that's not true, China's not so bad, China's our friend, and then people who say the opposite. China's the end of the world, they're going to kill us all. You have a very specific role and a specific way of thinking. Please explain that to us.
So for me, of course, I'm experiencing this every day.
Right.
Every moment, I'm hearing like the news of people being arrested.
Yes.
That and even in United States, I'm definitely a target of surveillance.
Sure.
And just like 2 weeks ago, we have a protest in San Francisco Bay Area.
Right, there was he was there, right?
Yeah,
he came,
when
right?
she was visiting. Yeah.
He visited San Francisco, I remember.
Right. So we have about 70, 80 people there protesting. Mm-hmm. And guess what? The other side, the supporters, over 2,000. And they are not peaceful people. They beat up people while San Francisco police was watching.
So the 2,000 beat up the protesters, and the police just watched.
They just watched. And for me, this is a trauma I'm always very familiar with. I was beaten up in 2008 when the Olympic torch was passing by San Francisco Bay Area. Very similarly, I actually specifically asked San Francisco police. I said, is this place reserved, for CCP supporters?
Right.
I was told no. Then I said, I'm U.S. citizen. Mm-hmm. You should protect me. They just shrugged and did nothing. What's worse, we were beaten, we were bloodied. One of my friend who was
So
60.
let me touch if I could. This is this important piece. So you're saying that the establishment wouldn't protect you, and you're saying the establishment supported of the CCP over you, and you're an American citizen.
Yeah. And the next day, I was trying to, because we were so overwhelmed, we didn't even have any evidence, like no picture, anything. I said, okay, because I asked someone who was taking picture. He said he was with Los Angeles Times. I checked everything on Los Angeles Times, zero, no mention of us. Then I called New York Times, CNN, everything, every media I could reach out. I said, we have someone who's beaten, almost fatally by Chinese supporters. Mm-hmm. You should report this. We have doctor report everything. Nobody want to talk to us. Zero.
So hold on now. Now this paints a very dark picture, right? It paints a picture of people not supporting you, Establishment not supporting you, media not supporting you, police not supporting you. Why? You're an American citizen. Why would we care about CCP supporters? Why?
Just because CCP has more influence here.
Ah, okay.
Through investment, technology, trade, yeah, and everyone is on the boat. They can benefit from it. Even ordinary people, they believe they can benefit. So the whole system is twisted. When I talk about Tiananmen Massacre, my own experience on TV, I was told the next day by my company's HR said, okay, our customer wouldn't want to hear, guess where the customer is from? Beijing.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So that's the kind of situation we have been facing in the United States for all these decades while I'm here. Actually, I face more hostilities here in the Chinese community and China-related community than when I was back in China.
Wow. So the Chinese community here has been more aggressive against you than when you were in actually China.
Right.
And you're saying that one of the reasons why is because China is so invested in America, in its infrastructure, in its finances, in its politics, in its technology, that the establishment is making money off of it, so therefore they by default support the CCP. That's what you're saying.
Right. I guess most Americans don't want to hear our story because it's misery, it's suffering. I was actually told by someone who is a good person, a friend of us. He said, why can't you tell some happy story? That's a reality.
What you're saying is dark, right? What
Right.
you are claiming, what you're
Because,
saying is
for example, thousands of people were killed 35 years ago, and they erased it completely. Now, with the cooperation of U.S. companies, for example, Apple, Microsoft, they're all in the same boat. We had commemoration on Zoom a few years ago. And guess what? My account was censored the next day.
Okay.
Yeah. And on LinkedIn, I was censored.
You were censored on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn.
Wow.
That's owned by Microsoft. Even worse, this is not only for us, just because internet is everywhere, everybody.
Sure.
For example, one of the biggest websites that people use for petition, change.org.
Sure, change.org.
Yeah, that someone, Chinese dissident, used it to organize a campaign. And a few days later, his family was caught because his email was found out.
Ah, okay.
This kind of information is only visible to people inside the company. That's the kind of situation we are facing. But it's not only us. If they can control this kind of company, they basically have the information of everyone.
So let me walk this back, right? If this is true and now a lot of American establishment is supporting the CCP, okay. If I accept that as true, I have to ask the more important question. Why would the CCP care, right? Why would they do this? Why wouldn't they just stay alone or control their own people? Why would they want to make the move?
Well, communism is always a global ideology. They want global control, and they wouldn't stop, especially when they have power, when they have strength, when they have the technology now, with the help of United States. That's what we are facing today. It may be already too late, because, for example, we are not producing even the bare minimum. If there's a war. Like, there may be superiority, like you have the battle, but then the next day, how can you supply?
So you're actually going to the point where earlier when we were talking, you were speaking more of maybe political war or information war or marketing or some business war. You just mentioned, though, a battle. Are you telling me you think there is actually a chance for physical, actual, kinetic war between the two nations?
Of course, you just look at the Ukraine. China is in exactly the similar position. You have one strongman who has a control of a vast country, with this claim over a neighbor. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. And Xi Jinping probably has stronger support within China than Putin.
So you think Xi actually has more support in China than Putin has in Russia?
Of course. So what's to check his invasion?
What's going to stop if he wants to? And you're talking an invasion of Taiwan, I assume.
Of course.
Okay, so invasion of Taiwan. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess my next concern is, if this is true, wouldn't American leadership, wouldn't they be able to see this, right? Wouldn't they be saying to themselves, no, I can see this is happening. I'm watching. I see it happening. Do Americans' leadership not care? Are they being bribed? Are they foolish? Are they short-sighted? What is stopping Americans from saying, no, we won't do this?
Well, there's just too much interest into one now.
Okay.
It's very hard to disentangle. Yeah. For example, last few days, two people died. Henry Kissinger and Charlie Munger. I guess a lot of people here may know Charlie Munger. In the business circle, he is actually the most famous China apologist. He admires CCP's model, which means business opportunity for him and his company at the expense of human rights in China. And Henry Kissinger, his company called China Ventures was formed with the Chinese government as partner as far back as 1980s.
I thought it was 70s. It's later than I thought. I thought it was earlier.
But think about these kind of people who have such dominating influence in this society.
So what you're kind of saying is, it's happened slowly over time,
right?
But consistently, to where now it's just too late.
Yes.
So what should we be doing? What should we be worried about? I mean, is it too late? Should we just go, let's start learning Chinese? Or is there something else that we should be doing?
We should definitely confront it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we are seeing some positive momentum from the late years of Trump administration to now. I think for most part, the shift is positive.
So you do see a shift now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Trump started the trade war. Which itself may not be a favorite topic here, but it's the right direction. And I actually Biden's, for example, Semiconductor Act. Yeah.
Sure.
Because
so you're saying now Trump started it, and even Biden's Semiconductor Act, even that's a good step, you think?
Right.
Okay.
And also the Uyghur Forced Labor Act, which forced the companies to check whether they have products from forced labor.
Okay.
Yeah, I think all these are moving in a good direction.
So here's my worry, though, right? If we start to move in the direction to trade war or something like that, aren't we asking China to take some action against us overtly, or no? Are we encouraging maybe the invasion of Taiwan? Are we encouraging some bad action against us? Are we? Or if I'm wrong, please tell me.
For United States, this is just self-defense.
Okay.
It's what we must do. The bare minimum. I think that's where we're going now. The CCP can only be stopped by strength, not by persuasion. That's why we have to be very clear. Resolved on this.
So I assume in your mind, if there was an invasion of Taiwan, you would think America should defend Taiwan directly.
Yes, definitely. Otherwise, this will be like the invasion of Poland last century. Yeah, we are encouraging this totalitarian regime. to expand its
Understand.
control, and they would never stop at Taiwan. What's happening in Hong Kong today will happen to Taiwan, and it may happen to Philippines.
So let me now move to internally.
Right.
You were at one point in China trying your best to make change inside China. Is there a growing group of people now in China? Is there another chance for a Tiananmen Square now in China? Does that exist? Are there people prepared to make that push, to make that change now? Could we see Tiananmen Square 2? Could that happen now?
Actually, that's a very good question, because something happened last year, and in a way, it's even more successful than the Tiananmen protest. That's what we call the white paper protests. Why? Because for the first time, CCP government was forced to change their policy of zero COVID because of this protest. So on that, it's the first successful public protest in China's history. And also what's significant, because it's first time that Chinese people shouted out, "Down with CCP," in Chinese cities, in Shanghai. So there is definitely a possibility, but it's also very dark, because with the help of US technology, they can control people at any moment, any space. You're always visible. There's no way to organize. So that's a severe challenge.
Wow. Okay, I do want to take a couple of questions from the audience, but before I do that, can you please tell them where they can get a hold of you, how they can find out what you're doing if they want to see what you're doing? Do you have a way for them to contact you?
Right. I'm most active on Twitter. You can search my name on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I have lots of cards here. If you want, I can leave plenty here. You can find me. We have a museum, Tiananmen Museum, in New York City. It's at a good location between Empire State Building and Penn Station. You're welcome to visit. It's open Wednesday and Sunday, 12 to 4 p.m. But if you are there, you can always let me know. I can open the door for you.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, good.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. So any questions? Anyone have a question or a comment? Yes, please go ahead. Okay, can you stand up if you don't mind?
Yeah, two-part. One, what do you think of Zion with his demographic collapse theory of China?
Okay, that's one.
Currently, and given China's history, is the CCP just another form of like the past dynasties and how they?
Okay, let me get both of those questions. Thank you. The first one I think is an easier one, which is, do you see the CCP as just another form of a Chinese dynasty, right? There's been many Chinese dynasties for thousands of years. He's asking, do you see the CCP as just another dynasty?
Well, yes and no. For in Xi Jinping's mind, he's definitely the emperor, like the once in 1,000 years. That's how he positioned himself. That's why Taiwan is so important for him. But communism is something external. So that's different.
So that's different because it's external. Right. Also, Peter Zanin talks about the idea of China collapsing because of the demographics, right? Of the aging population versus the younger people who are coming up, the one-child policy, and he believes that China is actually finished, that there really isn't much of a chance it's going to collapse. What is your feeling on that?
It's not clear. I think China is going through some significant change internally. For example, they are investing a lot in manufacturing recently, even with the real estate collapsing. And they are very good. They're probably the best at artificial intelligence, big data, and the most advanced technologies, which will not depend on so much on labor.
Got it. Okay.
So there's definitely something else that they are doing really well that can offset it.
Thank you. Did he answer your questions? Yes. Awesome. Great. Another question? Oh, right next to him. Go ahead.
So we're discussing things about like trade war and
Yep.
I didn't hear much about was the antibiotics manufacturing. Could that play a role in some of the facets of a trade war because we don't really have an immediate resolution to how we can manufacture those?
His question, for those of you who are online, his question was the manufacture of antibiotics. And we don't really have a very good answer here in America. China has such a huge chunk of that. Will that somehow affect trade war?
Right. I mean, that kind of dependency we pretty much have, like in every facet of this country. Yeah, at the beginning of the pandemic, we run out of masks, and like 2 years after that, a friend of mine was trying to, manufacture masks, and so he realized that everything just depends on China.
Okay.
Even if you want to produce here, it's too late at the moment because it's everything here is vacuumed out.
Sure.
So that's why there's urgency, like to rebuild at least depend on friendly countries instead of a rivalry.
Excellent. Thank you. Is there anything you want to say before we wrap this up? Mr. Zhou, anything special before we wrap it up? No, we're finished. Do you want to say anything before we wrap it up?
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay. Freedom for China. It's very important, not only for Chinese, but for the world as a whole. Now, China without freedom is a threat to the world, and we cannot avoid it.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you.